I will show you now how to make a stop motion video in Premiere Pro. So first of all, open Premiere, then open a new project, and we can call it stop motion. Choose the folder where you want to save it. I choose my desktop and then I say OK. So as we did with the other kind of video in the other tutorial, just import your opening image. So in my case it's Italy and I put it here. So this way I will have the right sizes of my video, and as I did in the other video I just put it on 3 seconds and that's okay. So this is my starting point. Now if we are going to make a stop motion, means that we did a lot of pictures. I suggest you to save all of your pictures in a folder, and in this case I saved those on my desktop in this folder. As you can see inside, you have a lot of pictures in a sequence. I took those last summer at the seaside, but I've chosen those to show you a particular way to make a video. So I told you in the presentation that you should have a tripod and you should be really steady. Of course, that will be the best way to make a stop motion. But if you really cannot be steady, then you can try make it without a tripod. But of course, you will move your camera. I mean, even if just few millimeters, you will move it. So in these pictures I didn't have anything. Actually I was into the seaside, so I was moving a lot, and that's why I've chosen this kind of picture, even if they are just like holiday ones. So just select all the pictures you have in your folder. You can select like this, or you can simply select the first one and then press Command A or Control A if you are on a Windows, and then drag and drop it here. Okay. So now you have all of your pictures here. They are already selected, but for example, if they won't be selected, you just select the first, and then by pressing Shift on your keyboard, select the last one, and then they are all selected. As we saw in the other tutorial, we just drag and drop into the timeline. As you can see, our images are bigger than our frame, but remember, we just keep the right dimension we've given you with this opening frame. So if we have this problem, and it can happen with our images or clips as well, we just select all the clips and right click and say scale to frame size. So all the clips, well in this case images, had been scaled to the right size. But in this case I took these pictures with an action cam, and the proportions are not the right ones. I don't like these black stripes on the left and on the right. So what can I do? Well, I just select one, and it's this one, and I say I would scale it and put it in the position I like to, so like this. But of course I want all of them to have this, so I just select with the left click this and copy it with Command C or Control C if you are on a window, and by selecting another clip I just click on motion and say Command V. So I copied and paste the effects. So now we have all the clips, well, we can say all the images in the right dimensions. I applied to all of my clips the effects I applied to the first one. But if we push our spacebar on our keyboard to show the preview, to see the preview, we can see that our video is really slow. Why? Because the default time each image lasts on Premiere are 5 seconds, and it's really too much, as you can see from the preview. What can we do? If we would have just few clips or few images, we could just select all of those. Remember, don't select the first one, which is our opening frame, and then right click on those and click on speed duration. Then click on the numbers and you can edit those. So I would write like 10 frames, and 10 frames are more or less half of a second in this case. So I would say okay. But as you can see now, you have these little bars, and those are your image. This is an image, this is another one, but here in the middle you have all this blank space. You would have to select one by one and say ripple delete. And well, it can work if you have just few clips, but if you have a lot of clips, and you will have with a stop motion, it's a bit slowing down process. So I can show you another way, but you have to do it before importing images into your timeline. So what can we do? We can just delete all the images by selecting those and pressing the on your keyboard the button delete. As you can see, we are at the starting point, so just with our opening image, and we still have our imported images, but we still have our pictures imported into the software. So as you can see in this corner, each picture, but we still have our pictures imported into Premiere Pro. So we should delete them because, as you can see in this corner, they last 5 seconds each. So we just select all of them, and by pressing delete from our keyboard we delete them. Now we are going on Premiere Pro CC, but if you are on a Windows you will go to Modify, then select Preferences, both on Mac or Windows, and then General, still both on Mac or Windows. As you can see in this window, you can read still image default duration, which is 5 seconds, and by clicking on the number you can change it. So you can choose to have 1 second or, for example, 20 seconds, and by clicking here you can choose between seconds and frames. The best way to make a stop motion would be having one picture for each frame, but it would mean that for each second of your video you would need at least 25 pictures for each second. So it would take a lot of pictures, and I can understand it. So I say this would be the best way, but of course you are free to do in another way. And the only thing I can suggest you is don't make your pictures last too long. Even 1 second is already too long. So I would suggest, I don't know, maybe 7 frames or 6. We can try with 6 and selecting frames, and then we say OK. Now we can import again our pictures in here. And as you can see in the corner, you can read 6 frames. So it actually worked. We just drop those into the timeline, select those, okay, and select the blank space and say ripple delete. And now we have all these pictures but they last really short time. And of course, since we deleted the previous one, now we would have to put all the effects about scale and position again. Now to be faster, I just select all of them and say scale to frame size as I showed you before, and we would have these black strings, and but okay, we don't care right now. Now we just see the preview by pressing the spacebar on our keyboard, and you can see it's much faster than before. I think it's still not fast enough, but okay. Now you know how to change your clip's duration, so mm, you can make it according to your needs or your tastes. So just don't be afraid to change settings.